Her parents traveled from St. Louis to the great Northwest, there settling in Portland, Oregon, where they became pioneers for the Church of God in Christ. Her father would build the first church from the ground up by an African-American minister. Later, her mother, Mother Theda Wells, would later become a supervisor in that area. They went for 15 years without a child. Many would have given up. But 15 years later, a son was born. And then on October 13th, 1 year later, on a Tuesday morning, a little girl was born. The doctor said that it would not be, but the Lord said yes. She brought great joy to Reverend Booker T. Wells and Mother Wells, 3 children that were born to them. 4 years later, her mother ran out onto the did not know which way she was. And then looked walking down the street, and there was Bishop Mason holding her hand and her brother's hand, walking back. Perhaps she did not know at that time how blessed she would be. And when she was of some age, she would leave there and go to Saints Junior College and be under the tutelage of Dr. Mallory. After returning home for a year or so, she was in San Francisco and her out to the Youth Congress, and she met a young man who asked her, if you lived in a castle and I lived in a matchbox, would you leave your castle to live with me in my matchbox? She said yes. His life and his destiny was changed forever. And so was that of hundreds of people who had not yet experienced what it was like to be in her presence. Now, here we are, 42 years later. She would become the mother of 5 children, 8 unique grandchildren. And when I look back over her life, I see that she was not only a phenomenal mother and a great wife, but beyond that would become a tremendous partner in ministry, even the founder of the Glad Tidings Preschool. And then later on moved beyond that to work with the Hayward School District in such a unique way. But it was in 2006 that she traveled with Alameda County to North Carolina to visit a program for foster care and adoption. She would return back to the Bay Area with that group that went, and she would later become the co-chair of the Faith Advisory Council for Alameda County, and they revamped what adoption and child care and foster care looked like in that county. She was a tremendous force. Even now, there are those who are pulling at her to run for public office and to become part of a school district. No answer has yet come from her. But there be no doubt in my mind or yours that there was a great anointing upon her life. She walks in her own anointing. God has used her from one side of this country to the other and as far away as Haiti. And tonight she comes to share a word. I'm glad that she's the First Lady of Glad Tidings. I'm glad that she's in charge of all of the women ministries of our church. I'm glad she's the First Lady of NorCal Metropolitan. But tonight I'm glad that God has laid his hands upon her. And the very next voice you will hear will be that of Lady Vanessa Wells Macklin, as she will come to share with us what God has given to her. The choir will come, and then we will receive her prayerfully. May God bless you.